All right. I think this is good.
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Hello, hello, hello. I
Is
think
that
you're
better?
good. Yeah, might be good. See what happens. So, how's it been, brother?
Uh, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is what it is.
It definitely is. I mean, the last time I talked to you, you're pretty positive about it, though.
No, yeah, I'm still in the same mindset. I'm
Gotcha, gotcha.
uh definitely aware, and um I knew a lot of things going in, but then a lot of other things came into the mix that gave me more of a headache. So I have to. There's a lot to work to do, and I'm sure you know that. So
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There's definitely, yeah, when you're coming out with a game, you got to take it in stride. There's definitely going to be a lot of negative out there, more than there is positive sometimes. Is what it is.
Yep, yep.
But
yeah.
thanks for joining, both of you. Abel Green, my boy Silent J, developer of Zero Ops. So Jay, do you want to tell
Hey,
us about your game, brother? Like, what made you decide to do something like this?
all right, so we can start from there. And forgive my lisp because I literally got braces on Monday
It,
at 32 years old. So
it's all good. I could
I'm
honestly
figuring out.
barely hear it. Barely hear it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to eat and how to chew and talk. So um, but yeah, starting a long time ago, I think after SOCOM kind of died down, and all we had were, I guess, the servers from. I guess they tried to remake the servers, and they finally found a way to do that, and people started playing. I know people have been crying for SOCOM for years, and I mean, I scour the internet, or I used to scour the internet almost weekly. I had Google alerts on to try to find, the next SOCOM news, and that's actually I think that's how I found you, SOCOM John. Because I had some type of alert set up for any SOCOM news to come to my email, and I just kept reading stuff and playing stuff, and nothing hit. There was no experience that I had when I logged into SOCOM 2 back in the day. And I wanted to attempt to recreate that, and that's really hard to do. There's so much magic in the original games. I think that a lot of it had to do with the team that they had. I think they were a really small team that was close, and like the music was nice, the game flow, and I think they just clicked and it worked. But I was really inspired by that. I love SOCOM 2. Definitely my most favorite game of all time.
So you say
Um,
SOCOM 2 is what inspired you to make it. You think so? What do you
oh,
what do you
100
think your game
100%.
resembles mostly out of all the SOCOMs, or what do you think you're trying to go for? Which one would you say?
Mm,
S2?
hmm. Definitely. Yeah. So, 3, I know the animations were a little bit quicker in 3, like, in the jogging and the jumps were a tad bit different, and I actually wanna say, like, the graphics, in my opinion, were a little bit blockier or choppier in 3 than compared to 2. I felt like 2 was a lot more smooth.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree to that definitely.
but, yeah, I think it's more to 'cause 3, they started to expand the maps, which was cool. It was awesome playing 3, but I think that was maybe just the point before being too much that it was acceptable to me. But then when they got to 4, I think that was just way over the top. And I think 1 was awesome, it's classic. I played it after I played SOCOM 2, but I think 1 was probably a little bit too simple, and I think 2 was just the perfect amount of, like, extraness to add to 1 that just made it the hit and the classic I think that most people like.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I wanna gear more towards 2. Um, but right now, there's obviously things that need to change. I think the speed. I know it's hard to make, like, to pick what you wanna do, I guess. But, for example, when you're running through 2, right? The speed is kind of like a slow jog, but then with games today in the mobile world, a lot of people, they want that fast, like, I want a quick scope, I wanna jump, I wanna do this, I wanna zoom in fast, I wanna be able to kill, like, 3 people at once, like, pull some John Wick shit. But I think that
You really,
when I first started doing that, I think I got caught up in that a little bit, the whole sprinting thing and being quick, but, like, I know that appeases a lot of, like, mobile gamers, but I can't compete with that. I can't compete with $1,000,000 studios, and AAA developer, so I have to have something different about my game. So I think more geared towards 2 than anything.
Okay, yeah. I mean, SOCOM 2 was definitely one of my favorites. I love that game. So if you're trying to go after that, then definitely. But at the moment, I think there's a little work to go. But so your game released August 1st, right?
Mhm.
So how has that been? How's that been for you the first couple days? Because now we're August 4th. So how's it been like the initial release?
It's been terrible. It's been uh, the reviews are hit or miss. I think most of the one-star reviews that we're getting right now are due to some unexpected server issues. We didn't anticipate a lot of the, like, the login issues we had because a lot of the advertising that we did for the game was outside of the US and places like Portugal. I think a lot of players are from different countries, and I think the simple things like signing in and like trying to read the process of signing in was almost just too much for people, and we needed to simplify that. So that's what I've been working on for the past like 2 or 3 days, to the point where we have, a one tap button for Google login and a one tap button for Apple login and Discord login. It's a lot better than, "Hey, this is your username, this is your password, this is your, verify this, verify that." So you just tap Google login, you plug in your username, and you can play. So I think that's gonna help a lot, with people connecting in different places.
So, question, like as you were testing out things, this never came up then as a login issue before
No,
release?
no, but yeah, actually, it didn't come up because I think most of our internal testers that we had, it was probably a pool of around like 500 people. I think SOCOMJohn, you logged in a couple of times too. Like that just never. I think the probably 90% or more of the people that did the internal testing were all from the US. I don't think we had anybody, and if they did, they had really good English skills or whatever, but that was never it was never confusing or. But
Gotcha.
if you look at the mass majority of people, they're not gonna know how to do that.
I mean, the
That's
last
something
time I
that.
tested the game was like 7 months ago, so I can't really attest to. And I think honestly, all I did was like a guest sign in, and that worked for me.
Okay,
So,
okay.
but yeah,
Yeah,
it
and that
was
was
definitely a
another
while
issue.
ago.
The guest sign in for some like, whenever we ran the internal tests, we had guest sign in, and that was working perfectly, and for some reason, when we moved it to production, the guest login, I don't know, it died, it just didn't work, and I have no idea why, so whatever could have gone wrong did go wrong, but, yeah, I kinda reviewed it in my head today. Um, it's kinda like having a baby, like, it's never really a good time to have a baby. You kinda just have it and you learn. I know that doesn't work a lot with bigger studios and bigger games, but given where I'm at and what I have, I think that, like, putting it out there and getting that direct, even though it's sometimes blunt and sometimes negative feedback, as long as I'm receptive to it and I can take it and I can improve it and move forward, I don't mind.
Okay. Question. What was the feedback during your test?
Like, the majority feedback or.
Yeah, like what do you think the main
Like
issues
when you're
were
in the
when it
test
came up?
when
Yeah.
you're in your testing phase, what was the feedback? What needed to be fixed and changed?
Mm, I think it was more of, like, the flow, and I think that's something that I didn't really nail the way that I wanted to, and what I mean by that is, hey, make a game, make it easy to log in for one, but the flow of creating a game, going into the game, having the game mode play the way you want to, and then having that game mode go back to the lobby with the same people, so you can keep that same group of people to build that type of, I guess, micro community within a game. I think that's something that I definitely need to nail because that was a integral part of, what SOCOM was kicking somebody's ass and going back to the lobby and be like, "Aha." But I think, that's definitely one of the big things is just building
So
that
every
that that
so
community flow.
I see. Were people pleased with the gameplay then?
I didn't really get into many, like, bad comments or, like, feedback with the gameplay. I think it was more of, like, some of the glitches that I fixed, like with people disappearing or the weapons not firing the way it should, or but like as for people moving around and gameplay, I didn't get too much.
Hmm.
So how many can I ask this? How many testers did you have? I know I was one of them technically. I didn't really test that much. I don't even think I ever gave you feedback on the gameplay. I definitely didn't do that. But like, how many testers did you have at the moment?
It was about 5 to 700 somewhere in that area. I think they
That's
were
a
a little
lot
bit on
more
the
than I
net less,
thought.
but like it was definitely under 1,000 for sure. I would say above 600 to 1,000, probably in between there.
I mean, were they active, or how many testers out of those do you think were actually like giving you feedback?
I think more people were playing than giving feedback. The people that did give the feedback were like, I guess, already close to me and active in my community. So I think if there was a way to, push those people, a bigger majority of those people to give me feedback, I think things would have went a lot smoother.
So we all know about Big Fry's video at this point. You watched it, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what do you think of about Big Fry's video generally? The comments that he made and the feedback that he gave.
I mean, I can't argue with it. It was spot on. I mean, everything you said was true, and I know that Abel, you touched on some of those things prior to, so it
Yeah.
was kind of an echo. Um, but yeah, I don't. I mean, I like his style because I think that's what makes Big Fry, and I think that's why his audience really goes to him because they respect that he puts shit on the table and says things that the way it is, and I think that's why his audience is the way it is, and I think just hearing that again, it makes and him being, I guess, a hardcore SOCOMer as well, for him dying and wanting that type of gameplay, it's very helpful to get that type of feedback from, like, the hardcore players, on how to improve, but yeah, everything he said, I can't there's
What
nothing I
would you
can't argue with that.
quick question. What would you consider yourself?
Like, on a scale of player or
It's SOCOM enthusiast. What would you consider yourself?
I was definitely the best sniper in SOCOM 3, but, I think in SOCOM 2, I would say I would call myself an old school player because I started, right after 2, but I didn't play 1, but I think 2 was so
Mhm.
close to 1 that if you're in that realm that you really experience, like, the height of SOCOM, so I would say that I'm pretty I'm a pretty hardcore player. It's just it definitely me playing that and me knowing how that game is, my the vision in my head is not yet translated into how I want the game to be.
So going back to the Big Fry video, because I know you said your overall response was, "Hey, he did a good job. Everything he said you agree with," and I just want to go over these things and list them, and you tell me if you did agree with it or didn't agree with it. But the overall things that he brought up were map scaling issues. The remakes of the SOCOM maps. Like, did you change those maps to like not get a lawsuit? What was your idea of remaking those SOCOM maps?
So originally, we wanted to. I mean, I personally liked. I loved Crossroads. It was the tiebreaker of all maps, and people played it a lot. But I wanted to re-envision that to play a little bit different in a style that I wanted to do to give a new and fresh perspective on it. Um, I wasn't trying to match scale for scale or you know rip it from the CD to put it on top. I mean, to put it on the game. That's definitely wasn't my intention. It was more of trying to reimagine how I would wanna play that game, or play that map, I guess.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I mean remakes aren't always a bad thing. I was just more or less wondering. And then the lack of tactical game modes, like no objective based game modes like demolition, hostage extraction.
Yep,
Are
yep, yep.
those in the works or?
So we had, in the beta, I don't think it was available. I don't know if you ever played it, but, it was near the end of the beta. We did have demolition working at one point, but then there were issues with, like, bomb planting and stuff, so I think we're touching that up. I never got to the, hostage extraction game mode, but I think that's definitely one I wanna get to, because that was like, a key point of SOCOM is fun, escorting the VIPs and being a terrorist and killing the VIPs. I think that stuff was really fun.
If you had like an ETA, when you think that would be available? When do you think?
So I'm trying to do the core issues first, and then after I nail the flow, um, let's see, ETA, it's August.
I mean, can you speak
But
more
the
on the
core
core
interface.
issues? What are you changing first? Like, what's priority one?
Priority one is the login issues and make the ease of that, how you play, how you log in, the simple shit that we should have nailed from day one. Just making it overall easier and better to view things and get into games. Uh, Number two would be the player controller. I don't like how the player moves. So we have an updated player controller that we're working on to make animations smoother. Um, and then number three would be the flow. I want to get that flow. I would say they're all pretty close. I know I said one, two, three, but they're all like at the height of like the forefront of my mind right now. Because those things, if you don't have those things, then the game's not fun. I think those things really make the game fun, and if you don't have those, yeah, nobody's gonna play.
Sounds like I heard that before.
Abel, do you agree with that
Question.
list, or
Oh,
what would you put first?
yeah. So if I was Jay, um, yeah, I would definitely, of course, the login issues. Yeah, that's yeah, definitely be a priority far as just ease of access. That makes sense. But far as the gameplay, it really just boils down to the gameplay along with the maps.
Yep.
Like
Yep. Yep.
the gameplay itself, like I hopped in the game myself. I honestly could not play long for all. I'll be lying if I sat here and be like, I played for a solid half an hour. I couldn't even find myself to get hooked at all. I felt as though the gameplay with how it is just playing on a mobile device felt very, very off-putting all the way. And then also when I try to hook up a controller to the experience as well via the PS5, there was, non-mappable controls that just would not take to your game at all. So that was a fail in that way too. So any way I try to access the title and try to manipulate it to be somewhat playable and decent and enjoyable to some degree, I could not find that heartbeat. Couldn't find that
Hmm.
pulse. So
And even that's something I can notice too. Like I know, like if I know that the game, like if I'm not playing my own game and I'm not happy with the way I want it to be, like I want my game to be so good that I'm on that shit, like that I get addicted to it. And if I don't get
right,
that so
right,
hit, like I'm not. I can tell you right
right.
now, I don't, 100% I don't, and I want it
That
to get
But
there,
that's
but
interesting
that's
because,
real. That's real.
but that's
Okay.
also interesting because if you don't, why'd you release it in the first place? That's also my biggest question. This is coming
I
from
agree.
I'm just at heart right now. I want you to be successful, but if you don't
Same,
enjoy your own
same.
video game, what was the point of releasing it? That's just my biggest question.
no, that makes sense. I think I was caught up, and I have like a best friend, and he's one of my investors. He's probably the only investor that I have. So I think
Mhm.
there's pressure to release the game by a certain date.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
and I
That's
think I
real.
fell into the trap of just wanting to get the game out, even though that I knew it wasn't at the state that I wanted to be, but I thought it was good enough to get going. And so I was okay with it, but I wasn't like, hey, this is something I love and that I'm personally addicted to.
Yeah, you weren't addicted to it, but you also didn't, weren't like, oh, this is a bad
Yeah,
game.
but I wasn't completely hating it, and then,
Gotcha.
whenever I did release it and it was an okay game, and then all these issues come up, it went from being okay to dog shit because of because of the issues, so it
Right,
kinda
right, right.
100% it backfired on me, but, I'm learning a lot from it, and I've literally been up, I guess, I'd come home from work, and I'd be up till, like, 1 AM for the past 2 or 3 days just tinkering and fixing and creating, after work, so it's been fun, it's a grind, it's been fun, but it's also been a great learning experience too.
Who's the map designer? Like I would highly encourage you to I mean at this point I don't know if you would have to scrap everything, but at this point I would definitely say like really look at the maps and things because sizing and proportion going to your character is just like nothing makes sense. Like nothing's coherent. Nothing like even walking through some of the doors, like the garage is huge as fuck. And then your character is like a little ant walking through the garage. Like it's like the proportions aren't even correct. It's like dimensions of map size and everything. It's just not right. What do you plan to do about those aspects of your game? Like, do you plan to go back and be like, "Yo, yeah, this is all incorrect. Let's just make something original." And
So I'm
I
gonna be,
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna be completely, like, 100% honest on that. Like, I played it a lot, and I played a lot of, I played all the maps, and I've been to almost every nook and cranny, and I didn't think that, like, maybe 1 or 2 things, maybe there were, like, a door here or there, but I didn't think it was, like, terribly off.
oh, it's
But
all.
yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe I need to take another look at that, but I didn't feel like it was, like, the proportions and the scale of things were terrible.
Yeah, like, so yeah, so in the future, before you like cut the ribbon on things like this, tap people on the shoulder that know what they're doing and know what they're talking about, and just see, like, get a perspective from somebody that has lived that life and really would be a stickler on it. I thought from you it would be fine, but I mean, here we are. So I don't know. I would definitely say like maps and gameplay definitely needs to be worked on. There's nothing like honestly, you're like playing it, it felt like a generic shooter from what I could play and shoot. It was very frustrating trying to get the controls down on the game.
Yeah.
Well, I
It
think
was
that
uphill
yeah,
battle.
yeah.
It was just uphill battle
Here's the
there.
two
Go
biggest
ahead,
things I
John. I'm
think you
sorry.
need. Aim assist, 100%. I think that's gonna
Oh yeah.
have to go in
Yeah.
there. Do you plan on
But
adding aim assist or no?
yeah, no, aim assist is actually in the game right now. I don't know if you could feel it or not, but if not, I'm definitely gonna bump it up, but it's 100% in the game right now.
Haven't
Yeah.
played it since release, so
Yeah.
maybe that was in an update.
And also
Okay.
controller problems, so like Xbox and PlayStation, Backbone.
Yeah,
When
that's,
will people be able to
so
play
I'm
on
running,
that?
yeah, I have a Trello, and that's one of the hot tasks too because I know, hey, mobile game, people love controllers, especially SOCOM.
Oh
We're
yeah.
I mean,
using
as
Oh
soon as
yeah.
you
controllers. I
mention
would love
SOCOM, yeah, you need to add
Yeah, it's
controllers.
controller.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right. It's
nobody's
like,
gonna,
oh,
yeah, for sure. Um, I'd have to look into how we can implement the backbone. That's definitely one of my top priorities. And as for, to go back, kind of backtrack a little bit for you, Abel, for scaling and issues like that, 100% we're scrapping all the maps. I had a conversation with, my map
good
designer. I
man,
was like,
good
"Hey, dude."
man. It's a
Yeah, I
tough
was like, "Hey."
call. It's a tough call, but
Oh, it is.
bro,
It's the right call, though. I was like, "Hey,
yeah,
bro."
yeah.
I told him, I'm like, "I'm sorry. I literally wasted your time on these maps. I wanted to kinda be similar, and recreate these things, but, like, we need to start from scratch. We need to delete the maps." And I told him because I kinda when I told him originally what I wanted, looking back on it, I realized that I capped his creative freedom on that, and I told him sorry. I was like, "Hey, dude, this is what I want you to do. I want you to have a map that flows, and I want you to be creative with it." And those are the only the rules that I gave him. He's working. He has 3 total that are planned, or we have 3 that are planned. One
That's
he's
good.
working on. He gave me a little. He wrote it down on a piece of paper, and it looks really cool. But I'm not limiting him to what to do or how to do things, and I think that's really gonna give, like, the game a flavor. And another thing that I guess for the 3 regions that we're doing 3 maps, and I wanna do 3 regions that feel really authentic. I don't want them to feel dead, so I think we settled on doing, like, a jungle map, a desert map, and I wanna say, like, a city or something, but 3
Like
different
something
regions.
urban. Get you.
Yeah, something urban like that, and I wanted to give him just that. That's all I gave him. I'm like, "Hey, work with this, come up with something cool,
Yeah. Stress
show it
to
to me."
Jay, stress, and I love what I'm hearing so far, and it's good that you're scaling down to be like, yeah, I rather you have 3 pristine
Yes.
maps
Yeah.
that have been battle tested, that is ready to go, that's it hardened, than fucking 8 maps and everything's just sorta like,
Yeah. And
no.
yeah, for sure.
And
There's
also,
some.
I would say
Go ahead.
this, I
No, go
just
ahead.
wanna say this one thing, Jay. Make sure that the dimensions of your character proportion to the map size, make sure the dimensions are right. Like, I don't know who's making it. I don't know how technical the guy is, like, because honestly, again, just seeing some of the things that, on the map that you had an overpass that was halfway a overpass. Like, I can't
Yeah, it
even
was like a
explain it.
brick wall
Like,
that, like, ended
it's
out of
like
nowhere, and then it turned into a
yeah, it was
canopy, and it
sloppy,
was
completely
a
sloppy.
couple things where
I
it's like, yeah, it's you
So
need to run
so
through it.
here's a thing that we might get flack for, but, I'm comfortable supporting this decision. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of this, but, I know from reading comments, on Fry's video, a lot of people were saying, "Hey, this is another game that people just, pull these assets and throw it into a mobile game," throw it on the store, and they're trying to take people's money. For one, my game's free, so I'm trying to charge people money. I'm just trying to create an experience. And for two, I really don't see a problem with using asset packs, especially as a small developer. I can see like when you buy an asset pack, it comes with example maps. Taking that and throwing that into a game, that's lazy. That's I could see how somebody could hate on that. But taking the assets that somebody's created when you're a small, team, I think that rearranging those or using those to create something out of your own imagination is it takes a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's
so I
nothing wrong with that, Jay, at all. Like I like I'm all for assets. Matter of fact, I'll put that on the record. I probably said this 1,000 times. It's the execution of how things are done. Like you could have assets all day, and in your maps, you're there's I played games that had just no materials at all, just blank walls, and the maps played phenomenal. I was like, oh my god, this map's amazing. This is great. But we can't even get to that extent. We're beyond the assets. It's like, can you make a map?
yeah,
Like,
for
can you
sure.
make a good map? Like people
Yeah,
can't
for
even
sure.
get that done. So it's like people want to talk about like assets and bro, can you make a map? Can you make a 3-lane map? Can you make
Yeah,
something that flows with
that's
objectives? Like
exactly
what's the
what I
timing
told
to
him. I
what's the
told him
time?
about the 3-lane theory, bro, 'cause I did a lot of research on the maps and map makings from different developers. I'm like, "We have to have maps with a 3-lane theory." Like, sometimes, like, you don't really notice the 3 lanes because the map is so good and it's disguised in a way where you don't feel it, but, like, almost all good maps have, like, 3 ways to go about one place, and it creates for the perfect gameplay. But I think those assets, like you were talking about, I think those assets are gonna really help with, the scale of things since they're all gonna be scaled correctly. I'm hoping that that's gonna alleviate, looking like an ant
Yeah.
inside of a garage.
Yeah, and Jay, don't feel bad about using assets. Like again, it's gonna come down to quality assurance. It should be like, well, the homework here is, does Abel approve? Does John approve? Does Fry approve? That's the homework. You need to take it back to people that would give you the real feedback and tell you the real deal and just put you on track.
Oh,
Because
for
my
sure.
thing is
That's
this, because you could
100%.
work all night and then still be wrong. You know what I mean? Like you need feedback. You need active feedback that actually of competent people.
Agreed.
That's
Agreed.
it.
100%.
Yep.
That's why I
Like
love his video, man. I love his video, and I love being in here to hear you guys say these things because I take your feedback, I hear it, and whenever I create whatever I create and come back with, whatever 2.0 or whatever 1.5,
mhm.
I'm I'm gonna I'm gonna be right back in here hearing what else there is because I don't it's not about getting 5 stars on Google, like, it's not I don't care about that, like, they could rate my game, 0.01 right now and for the rest of forever, but if I come back and I create the game for the SOCOM community that I wanna create and everybody's playing, that's all I want. I don't care if it's like, you know, 5,000 of old SOCOMers on there just kicking ass and hanging out, like, that would suffice my crack for a while until they come out with consoles.
So can I ask this? Are you scrapping the whole thing, or are you gonna just update the
No,
game?
no, no.
Okay.
Definitely not
Okay.
scrapping, no. I'm keeping it, and I'm just gonna whatever I'm gonna roll with whatever we got, and I'm gonna continue to take feedback and improve.
All
It's
right. I just had to
definitely
ask because I was like, the way you were talking, I was like, I don't know, is it gonna come out with like Zero Ops 2 or something? You know,
no, no,
I have no
no,
clue.
not at all. I mean, there's gonna be updates, but I'm just saying, like, in general.
All right, all right. Well, my podcast is all about having a platform for you to like speak your mind and also comment back on what people are saying about your game and yourself. So I have a couple comments from the Big Fry video that I would like you to respond to, or if you don't want to respond, feel free to just say pass or whatever. You're not obliged to do anything. So I just want to say this. Big Fry said, it's a case of wanting to create that SOCOM experience, but again, not knowing how to go about it. Everything you guys say that you're doing, you are just not doing.
I think that's very accurate, kinda how I described it in the beginning. I wanted to go about it a certain way, and I thought I was going about it a certain way, and then getting feedback, I realized I wasn't. So I think that from what I said, he accurately just summed it up in like 3 lines.
Okay, so you agree with them? It's just you want to create something that's about SOCOM and have that experience, but you just
Oh,
don't know
for
how to
sure.
go about it.
Yeah, and I think that's just a place an integral part of just me being here. I think that that's gonna help out a lot. Talking to you guys and messaging you guys on Twitter, being Big Fry making a video about the game, even if it was bad or good. That's super super helpful.
I mean, I agree to that. I mean, I think he made a video about Peak 53, and if anything, it kind of helped him. You know, it was a bad video about Peak 53, but sometimes those bad videos can motivate you to push harder and create more things, and just get your name out there. And I think that's what's happening with you, or hopefully it's what happened with you. So I also have another comment about Zero Ops, and it's from Sir Blackout. He said, "There's as much passion in this game as someone who's getting ready for a funeral. Zero Ops is lazy, unmotivated, and just trying to make a quick buck." And again, I do not agree with these people. I'm just pulling the top comments from his video,
For sure.
and I just want I want to give you a chance to respond to these people.
I did. I think I've been on his video and I check it almost every single day to go on there and try to give a response to literally every single comment on that video. I have a response to. Um, I think to him, um, for one, I was offended to say that I was late. Like I'm not. I've never been called lazy. I've there's some things that you go into and maybe you're not the best at it, or maybe you're blinded by other things, or you get pressures from this way or that way. So things happen. You release a shitty game, but I don't think that has anything to do with laziness. I don't think from him recreating maps and editing maps to the way he wanted to. The designer that I have, he's great. It took a long time. He put a lot of hard work into those. Granted, dimensions are off and stuff. We're all learning here. Um, but I don't think any of us definitely are not lazy. I don't like that at all. Yeah, the money grab comment. Yeah, it's a free game, man. Like I'm not trying to get money. Um, we do eventually have a plan to monetize. Who wouldn't want to monetize? But I'm not going to monetize my game if I don't like the game. It's not playing well. People can't log in. There's a point to where you can do that, but I'm not going to do that up front, and it's not in the game, and it won't be in the game until I get good feedback like, "Hey, this game's awesome," from, you guys or just people in general to say, "Hey, this game's awesome." Maybe at that point I could even, think about monetization, but there's yeah, I'm not charging anybody anything. Um, Honestly, I just want to have a good time.
So with that said, I appreciate your transparency there. So with that said, you just reeling back what you said earlier. You said that you had a pressure to get the game out due to investors. So is
Mhm.
there not a monetary thought that you're trying to meet, a obligation that you're trying to meet? Because you
100%.
say on one
Yeah.
hand, you're like, "Hey, I don't I no, I'm not tripping off the money," but at the same time, you're like, "I have to release because the investor." So there has to be some type of monetary gain that you're looking to get up
Yeah.
front,
He's
correct?
Yep, yep. He's eventually, gonna want to see a return on the game that he's been investing in for me to create.
Right.
So that pressure is always gonna be there, but I think it comes down to communication between me and him to let
Okay.
him know, like, hey, to get to that point. And we did have this conversation yesterday. I'm like, hey, this is where we are. If we do this, it's gonna piss a lot of people off. The brand's gonna die, and nobody's gonna buy shit anyways. Like, we can throw that in there all we want, it's gonna piss people off, and nobody's gonna buy shit. Like I said, it's pointless. I know you want to get your money back eventually. So I think it comes down to having those transparent conversations with him, which we do because we're good friends. Um, and then we're also good business partners. So if we have those open lines of communication, to each other, and we're both transparent, I think that he's willing to wait longer, and he more believes in me as a person just because we work together, we have history together. So I don't think he's putting that pressure on me, and that actually those conversations took the pressure off of me. So I think maybe if that's something that I could have been more proactive about maybe prior to that, then maybe we could have pushed the release date back, and this, we wouldn't be where we are. But you live and you learn on these. So I think that it comes from me. A lot of it stems from me. I need to and I've recognized that I need to be more transparent with him, and that those are steps that I'm taking. I guess growing and learning how to, manage a project like this.
I mean, I love where your head's
Right.
at, brother. You sound like you're taking this in stride. You know, it's awesome to hear that.
Yeah, and I have to give you credit, Jay, all the way, brother. Just to be here and actually hear the feedback out. Not too many people step in like to the arena like this and would have like a discussion about what can make your project better. Like people tend to take it wrong, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to just ask simple questions that the people want to know, that we want to know, and we want to see, can we get a good game out of this eventually? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's the thing we're really fighting for here, because my thing is this: I want to see people making money. I want to see happy communities. I want to see great products, and I'm sure you feel the same way, because
Mhm.
once you
We
get
all
set on
want a
that
SOCOM
track,
game, baby. We all want to
as
play
that
something.
too.
Come on.
That's exactly that too. But once you get set on the track here straight, I think you'll come through just fine. It's definitely gonna take some time. This isn't gonna be an overnight thing, but
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
tap in
For
here
sure.
and there and just to see where we're at with the updates or whatever the case is, and just take it from there. But I definitely wish you the best of luck on everything, man. I think you could do it. If you really care about nailing it down and really wanna tap in and get this right, I believe you could do it.
I do have
Well,
one
thank you.
more
I really
comment to say. You know, I'm gonna end it on a positive note. All that negativity. There's
My
one
man,
good
let's go.
comment right over here. Geeka said, "Some aspects of the game look good. Kill feed, main menu, models. I think it's just too early to shit on the game. The description of the game should probably be changed, but give it a year, and I think it'll be a lot better." So that's a positive
so
comment that somebody said on Big Fry's video. So I just want to,
Let's
I
go.
end it on a
There you
good
go.
note.
yeah, I did read that comment, and I was sitting down when I read that comment, and I instantly jumped up and I said, "Fuck yeah." Like, that's exactly
That's
that's
my
Somebody
boy.
likes
exactly,
me.
like you would have thought that that was, like, my other account and that I wrote that. I didn't, but I'm just saying, like, that was fucking I was I was on the same wavelength as that guy, same brave
Oh,
wavelength,
that's
whatever you wanna
awesome.
call it. But, like,
You're taking the
I really
feedback
enjoyed
great
that
though,
comment
Jay.
because
Yeah,
that's exactly how I feel, man. I love it.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely, but I think
yeah,
your game's gonna be a lot better in a year, especially after this
yeah,
conversation.
for
You know
sure,
how
for sure.
positive you sound. I'm really hopeful.
The only
I'm
thing that
happy
would
that
stop me,
you
bro.
sound great. I'm happy that you sound really good about all this. Real No, seriously, because some people don't take it well, and you're really taking it
I think
very, very grown, and yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I think that's like, a lot of these SOCOM projects come out, we've all seen them, but I
Yep,
think that there's weird shit that comes with them, and people aren't transparent with the community. People don't like talking to people like you, or being here and
that
expressing
part. Yes, sir.
expressing that they failed. I think that's a big fucking thing. Like I failed this launch 100%. Like
Failure is part of the process. You know that, Jay.
exactly.
We all
There's
know
no
that. That's
way,
part
bro.
of it.
There's no way. I'm not gonna get better unless people tell me I fucking suck. So
Right. For that part. Same. I agree with you, bro. I totally agree with that.
So, Abel, any other questions you want to ask my boy while he's on here?
Um, Jay, I'm gonna end on this. I'm gonna say, bro, definitely definitely play more mobile games around your area just to get down the field again. Call of Duty Mobile with how they got the third person going on, because it's just the closest reference to what you have right now. Some
mhm,
people would say, hey, check out Fireteam Bravo, or you may not have those things. So I'm go- I would just say rehaul the gameplay, because the gameplay could be way better, and you know that. Get some maps, get three simple maps done with good map design and dimensions that complement your character,
mhm,
and beyond that, let's get a controller support on there. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Those three things alone could change your game overnight.
100%.
Instantly.
Yeah,
Preach,
Instantly.
yeah.
You'll
preach.
be like, whoa. But that's all I see. I think that you can do it. It's gonna take some time, but again, I'm always willing to give your game a go just to see what updates have come about, and I'll definitely be back to test it out. If you're like, hey, Abel, can you please check this out? I'm here. I'll check it out, and we'll just assess and critique from there.
Well, definitely, I can't wait to, like, make these changes and then come back to you. Maybe it's on here, maybe it's through Twitter or whatever, but I would love to come
Yeah,
back on here maybe to say, "Hey, this is what we used to have, and this is what we now have," and just
let's go.
I don't wanna hear it, like, via Twitter. I think it'd be cool to hear it, like, right now live and, like, in a video
Right.
and
I
like
get
that.
you.
It'd be really cool.
I get you.
Yeah, I mean,
Totally.
I'll say this, Abel, you're always welcome. Silent J, you're always welcome, brother. I really do appreciate you guys hopping on the podcast today. And everyone listening, make sure you go follow my boy, Mr. Abel Green. He's on YouTube. And then Silent J, he's the lead developer of Zero Ops. Make sure you type that in Google or type it on your Android device, iOS, and make sure you support the squad. Silent J, anything else you want to say to the viewers before we leave?
Give me some time, and I'm gonna turn this around for y'all because I'm waiting to play and sniff a line of so crack like you guys are. So
Let's go.
Hey, that's a good
there you
note to
go.
end it on. All right.